Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Today we'll go through match process. This part, like we'll go through this part. Let me zoom it. Okay. So, is screen is visible?
Yes, yes, I can see it.
Okay. So here, tokenize match key, match table, consolidate process is there, right? So match process comes under this blocks. Okay, we'll see how the match will work and what type of match strategies are available and how can we configure those match strategies. So as of now, we have two match strategies are there. One is exact match and another is fuzzy match. So when we go for, as it in the name itself define exact match. So here what MDM will do is it does apple to apple comparison, like character to character. Suppose if you take a string, so every character has to get match, including the spaces. And if you consider the integers, every character has to get match, every number. So that is exact match process. This exact match process runs in the database server. Okay? It takes very less time, and the processing time and the resources consumption will be very less for this exact match process. And we have another match process, fuzzy match process. So as in the name itself defined, fuzzy is nothing but like it's purely based on probabilistic algorithm. So MDM will do some comparison, will run at the back end. It runs the algorithm, probabilistic based algorithm, and identifies the similarity scores between the records. And as the properties which we configure based upon the configurations, the similarity scores will be considered, and then it picks the trigger and um, it marks that record as match record. Okay, so we can see the match records in match table. So let's see at the tool level what are the properties which we configure. See here, any match. So as I said, right, so match process means like identifying of similarities between the records, or else like exact match. So why we go for this match process means simply to identify the duplicates. In the initial classes, like we have discussed, right? So what is the purpose of implementation of MDM here? Like into the organization, data flows from different source systems, and a customer record may be flowed into the organization by different source systems, and those records may leads to duplication of customers, right? So it will be very difficult for an IT engineer to identify which customer is unique customer and which customer having duplicate records. So to overcome that challenge, we MDM has came into picture, and we as part of the organization strategy, we implement the MDM solution. So as part of that strategy, this match process comes into picture. What it do? It ident like if we go for exact match, so it's an apple to apple comparison, so direct comparison. So we don't get any similarities, those things. So if it is fuzzy match strategy, then here all these things comes into pictures, like missing misspellings or typo errors, or it could be like nicknames. Sometimes we may write nickname, sometimes we may write full name, sometimes we may write just name without surname. Okay, and there might be synonyms, abbreviations like senior, junior. Okay, 1 2 3, like Trump 1, Trump 2, or junior, and some foreign characters or angel sized words. Okay, and as part of senior, junior, these are the prefix, suffix, abbreviations. Okay, and having extra spaces, noise, punctuations, all those things. So it identifies all those patterns and um, make us that like these records are match records or not. Those records will be put in match table. So here there are some properties are there. Here complete tokenization ratio is there. I told you, right, whenever we deal about match process, then I will explain some of the properties over here. This complete tokenization ratio is nothing but uh, from the source system. Suppose today there are 100K records in our database, MDM database, MDM system. So we got some records from the source system, like there could be an inserts or updates. If you consider the whole sum of existing records and the new records, the changes are greater than 60%, then it will go for complete tokenization ratio. So here, what is meant by, first of all, what is meant by tokenization ratio is when we implement the fuzzy match strategy at that time, what like before comparing the records, first we will identify the records, which records are which records falls in the range of records that are potential for match candidates. It means there are 100 records. In that 100 records, only handful of records may eligible for match process. It doesn't mean like those records are match records. Handful of records eligible for match process. It means, right, um, suppose your name is Mahesh, my name is Rohit. With these records, there are 20 records are there. Of out of that, 15 belongs to Mahesh, 5 belongs to Rohit. So here, when we run the match process, it checks the similarity scores, right? So how can it check the similarity scores? Like there are 20 records are there. Out of 20 records, 15 records belongs to suppose one some characters. So 5 records belongs to some characters. If you like simply if you go for comparison, 20 into 20, how much count we'll get? 400. So it has to run 400 iterations with the new records. And and at the same time, if there are existing records are there, suppose in the database again, like there are 100 records are there, just think a while that like 100 into this 20, how many iterations it will form? 2000 iterations it will form to check the similarities. So it's an like comparison, like comparing the Rohit and Mahesh record, it's having no purpose, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's unnecessarily you are spending like MDM is spending some resources and some CPU time. So how can we overcome that wastage of CPU resources or like time? So here MDM has introduced, like Informatica has introduced tokenization process. Here, what the tokenization will do is it identifies the range of records which falls in particular group of records. Suppose a records which starts with M, it make those records as a one group. like suppose records which start with R, MDM makes those records as a one group, so that uh, while running the match process, within those records only match process will run. So it identifies the duplicates or any synonyms or anything like pattern matching. It will go for that pattern match. So here the time will be greatly reduced. Simply nothing but tokenization, nothing but like to identify the range of records which MDM has to process. Means those are potential match candidate records. Doesn't mean that those records are not matched or matched. Just like we are picking the records which falls into one group, one range. That is the tokenization ratio. And allow constraints to be disabled. I have already told you, right? So whenever the load process runs, like at the back end, like MDM creates some indexes, right? So during the load process, it takes time. So that's why it disables during the load process. And here we have duplicate match threshold. This is suppose I have told you, right? MDM compares the records one on one. So if there are more number of duplicates are there, it spends more number of it requires more resources and more CPU time. So what we will do here, we will mention that it has to process a particular batch of records only. Suppose if I mention 10 million records, okay? So whichever the records, 10 million records falls in that range, those records only it performs the match process. For rest of the records, it will not process the records. In next batch, it process the records. Why this option has been presented? Like to reduce the hotspot. So MDM has to perform so many iterations between the records and so many inserts, updates it has to perform. So if we have a lot of duplicates, it has to spend considerable time in the match process. So it may leads to the resource congestion. So to avoid that hotspot, we have this property. Whenever we enable, we mention some value here. If it cross that particular threshold value count, then MDM stops that like match process, and then it continues with the next process. Okay. And load batch size, I have told you like how many records has to load at a particular uh, batch size. Okay. And max elapsed match minutes. So here a single match process has to run how many minutes? So if we mention 20 minutes, means if the match process runs 20 minutes, whichever the records it identifies within the 20 minutes, those records only it performs the match process. And then beyond the 20 minutes, the match process will be halted and it release the match job, and MDM goes for another process. So why this has been enabled is like, again, it's MDM like here again the MDM has to spend considerable time in matching up the records, right? So if it if the match process continues forever, then it consumes a lot of resources, right? So other jobs has to process, right? So for that purpose, here we kept a limitation. So here the by default we have 20 minutes is there. Depends upon the table, we increase the time. For an example, I said party, right? Party is the main driver table, main table, center table. I can select very main table, the MDM, whole MDM application. For that party table, we mention max elapsed minutes as a 500 minutes, 1000 minutes, even 3000 minutes also. It depends upon the data, which volume of data which it has to process. Suppose if you consider the bank or insurance firm like BFSI domain, financial domains, like generally we may get huge number of changes or huge number of volume of records. So like in a day, sometimes we may receive like 5,000, more than 5,000 or 10,000 records to a party table. That means like the volume of records is very huge. That MDM takes time to process those 5,000 records. Okay. Um, we think that like 5,000 records like very, very less volume, right? But it doesn't mean like that. For that 5,000 records, it has to those new 5,000 records has to get compared with the existing records, and it creates some range of records. Like it creates some records, like a group of, it forms group of records which it has to get comparison within the existing records and the new records. So in the like if you consider that 5,000 records, that volume may get like 10x or 20x while running the match process, because 5,000 into 5,000, what it would like something like 25 lakhs, I guess, to 2.5 million, and then existing records. So it at a point of time it has to process some millions of records. So that is the reason we may we specify some limitation in match process. So if it cross some that specific duration of time, then the match process will be halted, and then the MDM continues with the other process. And we have another properties that
Right, I have one query, two queries here actually.
yeah, okay,
For the max elapsed match time, match minutes. Uh, so let's say we have given it as a 20 minutes and
yeah,
we have received, let's say, 2.5 million records, or let's say
yeah,
5,000 for that matter.
okay, okay,
And the match process is not finished within 20 minutes.
yes, yes.
So what happens? Let's say out of 5,000, 2,000 were matched and 3,000 are still remaining. But the match process will go on hold. So what will happen to those 2,000 records which are already matched? Does it get committed or it gets rolled back?
Yeah. So how many records participates in match process? Those many records will be uh, committed. Okay, I will tell
Committed.
you like
Okay.
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 For rest of the records, that's what like mm, it consider like it calculates the records, and like how many ranges, how many range searches, uh, 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 like here, like suppose like we receive some volume of records, right? So it calculates that those records falls in how many range searches, and it picks only those range searches. And once those records which participate in that match process, those records only will be entered into the match table, which is infrastructure support table for a base object, and those records only will get committed. For rest of the records, again when we run the next batch process, at the time again those records will participate. So here we have to run multiple times match process. That's it. Okay? Though
Okay.
nothing will happen. The records will be stay like that only.
Okay. My second query is there any formula or calculation-based approach where we know for, let's say, 5,000 volume, we need XYZ minutes?
Yeah, yeah. So here there are some backend calculations are there, Informatica provided, but generally when we implement the match process, so we'll go for trial and error method. Okay,
Okay.
every time. So directly we don't implement anything. First we'll write some set of rules and run the match process, how the records are getting matched, how much time it is taking for this sample subset of data. Based upon that volume which we have processed, we'll go for match like setting of the properties. It's
Okay.
in a trial and error method. How according to the business requirement, what is the desired outcome will uh, mention those properties and will use those properties or those rules only. So it's in a trial and error method, and moreover, there are some calculations are there. How much time it takes. There are some range such nodes are there. Depends upon the CPU threads are available. Those things. Okay, that comes into picture during the performance tuning. So that's high level. Okay.
Okay.
Generally, we mention for party table as per the volume of records which we process, how much time it is taking lower environments. Generally, we will mention that minutes. Suppose business say that we get 300 records, either new or existing changes, then we go for just 100 minutes or like that. If we get like 1000 records, and then we'll go for 500 minutes like that. Again, it depends upon the match properties which we have configured. If it is exact match, it doesn't matter. Like at the database level, it will perform right. It will not make any issue. Only for fuzzy match only, whatever the descriptions I told you.
Okay.
And here, parallel degrees for parallelization depends upon the CPU threads. We'll mention this. Okay, we'll keep it as it is by default like this until unless Informatica suggests like you can increase this parallel degree, then only we'll go for. They will suggest us. Okay,
Okay.
and requeue on parent met. This I will tell you when we completes the match process. Okay, the explanation part completes, and during the match process, I will tell. Okay, generate match tokens on load. Okay, whenever the records loaded into the base object table. Okay, if you enable this option, by default, tokenization job will run and it creates the tokens. Okay, so token is nothing but a some encoded value of character length 7 or 8, 7 I think. Okay, it's an encoded value. Here tokens are nothing but like the degree of variation within the record. Suppose if you consider Mahesh and another record, um, MHESH. Okay, and what is the variance? There is one A is missing, right? So here MDM internally calculates the variance and creates the tokens. For Mahesh, it creates one encoded token, and MHESH it creates one token. It the tokens depends upon the degree of variance of character data, and generate match tokens on put. Okay, whenever the third party applications inserts the data at that time, it generates the token whenever we enable this. Okay? So this is enable row locking during match process. So if you want to enable the row locking of row level, then okay. This is match flag edit table. So for auditing purpose, like how the match process is going on, how much time it is taken, those things will enable this. And we have enable state management. This is for changing the status of records. I told you right, soft delete upstate indicator values. So
Okay.
by default, we don't have the permission to change the status of upstate indicator value. So when we enable this only, then that record can be like can be moved into the soft delete state or pending state and active state. And when we enable this option, this enable history for cross reference, this will get enabled. This is like suppose a record we put in pending state means substate indicated 0. So when we promote that to active state, that at that time like one entry will be created at the history of cross reference table. And we have base object style, merge style or link style. So all the projects goes with merge style only. So here in the description itself they mention. Here the match style physically combines link style without physically combining the records. Okay. This is for just analysis purpose. Some people may do, but in all the projects we go for merge style only. Means like physically the records will be consolidated and creates the best version truth or golden copy master copy records in the base object table. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So I told you right, exact, fuzzy. So here we have two strategies are there, exact and fuzzy. I have explained you this.
So in projects, do we implement both the strategies like exact and fuzzy, or
Yes, yes,
just the fuzzy?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, both, both. I will tell you, okay? I'll show you by like strategy will be either of maybe like exact or fuzzy. If we implement fuzzy match strategy, then also we can go for exact match process. Okay. But if we implement exact match strategy, then we cannot go for the fuzzy match. Those options will not get enabled. So if
Right.
we enable fuzzy, then we can go for both the process. See here, if it is fuzzy, then only tokens will be generated. Search for match candidates, compare the record to match against the match candidates. Okay. Match candidates it creates. Then go for matching process. Here, if it is exact, just compares the records to rest of the records in the base object. So this match process will be performed at the base object level only, as we have different tables are available, right? Cross reference table, history tables, but the exact process runs in the base object only. So during this process only, so many inserts, updates will happen. That's why it takes a lot of time. I will show you like while running the match process, how many backend, how many inserts or update statements it gets created. Okay. And we have match path on those things. I will explain these things. Okay. First, we'll go for match process. Exact match process we'll go for. Okay. So let me go to the screen. So under match and mid setups, we can see this. We can configure the match rules. Okay. Let this one. So here under the property section, it is showing zero match columns, zero match rule sets in active set, zero, primary key match rules, zero, maximum matches for manual consolidation, 1000. Okay. I'll explain you manual consolidation means whenever the we have a consolidation process of two. One is auto match, manual match. So whenever like if it satisfies some particular match rules, then we can go for manual match process. At that time, like data steward or business users will analyze that records and either they merge or they leave like that. Okay. And here number of rows per match job cycle it has to process. Okay. How many records it has to pick for per match job batch cycle. So we can click. So in the projects we mentioned like 100K, 1 million. Okay.
Okay. So this is the batch size,
Yeah.
which will
Per batch, how many records it has to process for match process. For
it
match
should
only.
be. Okay. So it should be in line with the match time that we give, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. And here also we can keep maximum matches for manual consolidation. Okay. Suppose there are 1 million records are eligible for manual consolidation. Then too, those records will not go for manual merge queue. It will be there itself. Like once those manual matches for manual consolidation process completes of these 1,000 records, then only next set of records will come into that queue. Otherwise, it will stay like that. Okay. All these things we will mention as per the volume of data which we receive. And before implementing this, like a business team or a product team will analyze the data and they say that this many number of records we get, or else like we'll simply some records, like some values. If they don't mention, will generally will mention 10,000. Okay, more than 10,000, it will be difficult for any user, right, to go for console, manual merge process, right? So it like if consider me like analyzing 10,000 record takes a lot of time, right? So
Yes.
we'll keep some limitation in the manual consolidation. If there are more number of business users are available, suppose 100 or 30, then we'll go for even that 100K records, 200K records, because the data stewards or business users are more, right? In my project, there are almost 100 data stewards are there. So
Okay.
we have more than 1 lakh is 100K records are there.
Okay.
Again, it depends upon the business. Okay.
Mhm.
So here um, we have match strategy, fuzzy or exact. If you select exact, here the fuzzy population has been disabled. If you select fuzzy, fuzzy population has been enabled. Okay. So here fuzzy population is nothing but um, every country has some set of name patterns, right? In India, it is different. In US, it is different. In UK, it is different. And moreover, the language also different, right? So MDM, Informatica MDM supports more than 65 countries population. For US, it has US population file is there. For UK, it is UK, and China, it is Chinese. Okay, for Japan, Japanese population. So here, when we select the fuzzy match strategy, we have to select the population. Which country of data we are going to process. Okay. So suppose we are dealing with US data, then we'll select US population. So this is again depends upon the like money license. Okay. If you buy for US, then only we can configure only for US. Okay. If we buy for international, then we can configure for international. Okay. If we buy for Denmark, we can go for Denmark like match and match Denmark data sets only. So it all depends. Um, we have a population file which that extension ends with YSP. I'll show you. Server sources. Okay. So here under cleanse resources match directory, we have demo.ysp. This is internal to Informatica. Informatica provides some data. We cannot read this one. Okay? Some encoded data.
Okay.
Yeah? And it's purely internal to Informatica. So when we buy for US population, then they provide US population file. Okay? It's 12 MB right now demo. The demo is nothing but the short form of US population data.
Okay.
Okay. So exactly what this population file is like, it has the details of the population patterns, how the namings goes in US, the company's naming patterns, address patterns, okay, how the street address will be like the patterns. Exactly, I can say. So that like based upon the patterns available in this population file, this match process will run. Okay. If you select Japanese population file and if you go deal with US data, we get wrong result sets, wrong matching result sets. Okay. So um, when we buy for suppose India population file, we'll place that population file over here and we make some changes at the metadata table level. Let's try. Search in Google. Yeah, see, it was SSA population. Okay. Was SSA. So in this metadata table, there are some entries are there, right? Like this. We'll make an entry and we enable this indicator. So if we enable the indicators for all these things, it shows in our drop down here. See, let me enable for even the population files are not available. Simply it shows in the drop down. That's it. We'll enable for Norway. We commit this. See here we are getting this. Okay. So when we enable this, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. When we enable this, and then we have to place the population file in this path. That's it.
Yeah.
Population file ends with the extension YSP. Okay. These are the properties. Okay. I'll explain you these properties only later. Okay. First, we have to see the uh, match rules.
Okay.
First, we'll go for exact match. This will also I will explain later. Okay. Uh, there is another set of processes there. So here we have to select the match columns, which we have to configure for match rules. Okay. Click plus symbol. So I want to implement match rules on these columns, contact column. So we can select multiple columns within this. So it performs a concatenation operator. So email ID and contact will be concatenated and goes for match process. Contact. So now I have selected one column. So one column has been introduced over here. And I want to use email ID also. Okay. Two columns I have mentioned in the match column section. Then we have match rule sets are there. Click plus symbol. So here we can create one match rule set. It could be any name. What contact email. Okay. So here we are getting some asterisk symbol is right. This is nothing but default match rule set. Just remember that match rule set is different, match rule is different. Okay. Within the match rule set, we can implement match rules.
Okay.
So here the match rules are there. And the match columns we have to select. How many match columns are available? So uh, how like if you like the columns which we have configured under the match column section, those columns only will be visible over here. Okay. I'm selecting contact. We can select n number of columns. Okay. We can select the columns which are all available. Okay. I can select like this. Okay. And I want to implement one more rule. Just like email is getting matched. Click OK. So I have created two match rules. Okay. Here in the match rule number one, if contact and email ID gets matched between the records, then Informatica consider those records are match records. Okay. If any of the records does not satisfy the match rule number one, it goes for match rule number two. Here we have mentioned email. So if email is exactly matched between the records, then MDM treats those records are match records. Okay.
Okay.
It
So
could
this
be
is
like
a,
match rule number one satisfies, or if it satisfies match rule number two, those records will be considered as a match records, and it traverses till the end, means how many match rules we configure, it traverses till the end of those match rules.
okay.
Okay. And one more thing, within the match rule, we use two columns, right? Contact, email ID. Here the match condition should exist. Contact as well as email both should match, then only those records will be treated as match records. If contact is matching but email is not matching, then Informatica MDM will not treat those records or match records. Here between the columns and the operator will be performed. Okay.
Right. Right.
Contact as well as email should get matched. Whereas between the match rules, either the match rule 1 or either the match rule 2 satisfies, then Informatica MDM treats those records are match records.
Okay.
Okay. And here we have one option is there, one property is there, auto. Auto is here nothing but merge process. So whenever this match process completes, okay, the Informatica identifies these records are matched. Then what we have to perform? We have to consolidate those records, means merge those records, right? So those merge process should be performed automatically, or any manual intervention has to be performed. Manual intervention means a business user or data steward. Okay. So here what I'm doing is, in order to make auto, means here we have arrow symbol is there. If I click up, there is one dark demarcation line is there. Whichever the match rules present above that demarcation line, those match rules are auto match property satisfied match rules. This match rule is manual match satisfied match rule. Okay. And here we have enable filtering is there. Filter SQL, like I'll explain you later. First we'll see this process. Okay. In our base object, we have only three records are there. Let's see how these three records will participate in match process. So when we run the match process, we have to run the merge process. Okay. Merge job. I can create another match rule set also. I can go for another match rule set. Party match rule set 2. I can create another match rule set. Okay. But at any point of time, only one will be the active match rule set, which has the star symbol. This is the active match rule set. These are the match rule sets available, but um, what can you say that exact terminology? On demand, we can use this one. So
Yeah.
while running
Not
the
enabled.
match, yeah, while running the match process, we can select either of the match rule. If you don't select any of the match rule, by default, this will be executed because this is the default one, default active one. Okay. So here we can implement like this. We can use any of, like right now we have only two columns are available. Simply we can use email, click OK, click OK. So one match rule has been created. So we can create n number of match rule sets. Okay. At any point of time, only one will be the active match rule set.
Okay.
Like for saving it takes some time. Okay. And within match rule set, we can define n number of match rules. Okay. Within this, like here, I define two match rules, right? I can define 7 or 10 or 5. It could be n number. So in the projects for party table, that is the main driver table. So in that party table, we may configure match rules as per the business requirement. So in the interviews, people ask like how many match rules you have configured for your party table. We can say 5. So then they will ask like what are the columns you used. So the columns which we use in party table, we will have date of birth column, we will have contact column, we will have email column, we will have SSN number column. That SSN number, it could be like last four numbers or enter full SSN number, and name column, and any indicators like party type or account type, those columns. Okay. And by using those 5 or 6 columns, we can define match rules. Suppose in first match rule, if name fuzzy matches name, okay, contact and email id, date of birth, if all these gets matched, then only like we'll use those columns under match rule 1. And for match rule 2, if contact email and ssn get match, that is also suffice for me for match process. Then we'll use that second column, no, second match rule. Like that we'll implement till the all the columns satisfy the match properties as per the business requirement. Okay. I'll explain, like I'll create more number of match rules when we go for fuzzy match. Okay. And explain you. Okay. The lot are there. So for now, like just uh, go for this. Okay. We have implemented, like let's see how the match process execute at the back end. Go to the batch viewer section. Okay. Whichever the records gets matched, those records will be like will be inserted into this match table. Right now 0 records are there, and we have one more table, strp table. strp table, this table contains the tokenized records. Okay. So when we configure the fuzzy match strategy, then only this table gets inserted. I told you, right, encoded value will be present under this column, and rest of the columns contains the data. Okay. For
Okay.
today, we won't see this table because we haven't configured the fuzzy match strategy. We configured only exact match strategy.
Okay.
Okay. So we go to this. So here we have different jobs are there, and I have explained you load job, right? That's okay. And if we run the match process, then match job will be triggered. So here we have default match set. Default match set is party contact email. So if we don't select anything, by default it will be get executed. If we select this one, this will get executed. Okay, on demand we can select. So if I mention default, default will get executed. Just and here we have two more jobs are there: auto match, auto match and match. When we run auto match and match, match process will execute and the match process will execute. If we don't select that auto match and match, we'll go for if you select match, then the after match process the records will not get matched. It will stay in the match table. That's it. Okay. Let's see while running the match process. Execute, refresh it. Okay, it has completed. Identified four records. Okay. Match records are four. Queued for auto match one. Queued for manual match three. Okay. So let's see. Like we have only three records are there in our base object table. Okay. Uh, three records are there, but it is showing four records in match table. You know, see four records it is showing. But how many row ID objects are there? One, two, three. Only three row ID objects are there. It means the count which it shows in the this job, it doesn't mean like exact replicate of the counts of base object table.
Yes, okay.
Here it will make an entry. So here 3 is matching with 1. 3 is matching with 2. Okay.
Okay.
For 3 records we got 2 count. And again 2 is matching with 1. For 3 records we got 3 entries in the match table. And 1 is getting matched with 2. Okay. So here it is showing row ID match. Even it shows for with which match rule this record has been matched. Right now in the in this match rule set we have two match rules are there. Okay, three records has been satisfied by this match rule, and one record has been satisfied with this match rule. We consider two match rules it is showing, means two records has been satisfied by one match rule and another record has been satisfied with another match. And moreover, here we have one column automate indicator. If the records satisfies the condition automates, then the indicator value will be 0. If the records satisfies the manual match condition, then the indicator value will be 1. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Automate indicator 1 means like the records will satisfy the automate property. If the automate indicator 0 means the record will satisfy the manual match property. Okay.
Okay.
1 means true, 0 means false.
Mhm.
Well, let's see at the database level. So if here, when we run the match process, I told you, right? We cannot see that consolidation indicator as 3, but we can see consolidation indicator as 2.
Okay.
Okay. So here, once after the match process, the consolidation indicator will become 2. Means these records are in queue of match process. They are in queue for match. These records are participated in match process and they are in queue for match. That's why there is an entry in match table.
Okay.
Entries are there. Let's see the even I'll show you at the metadata table level. See repos for match. There are three match rules we have configured. Okay, don't get confused. Here two match rules are there. Here one match rule are there. Okay, total three we have configured. In this entire schema, Vamshi ORS, we have configured only
Three match groups, two match
three
set
match.
and
Yeah,
two match.
yes. For each match rule, there is an ID is there. And here automate indicator one means this match rule has condition automates condition. Okay, auto is yes. Okay. In the match table output, it is showing this record has been satisfies the match rule, this one, and rest of the records satisfies the match rule by this match rule.
Okay.
Okay, so like that we'll see the entries. And here we have match for row ID table. This is like which table it is. This is CBO party table. If we see the C repos match column match table, select store from, everything is all the metadata is has been is interrelated. Okay, so that's why every, whichever the thing we create or delete, it has to be performed using MDM hub console only.
Okay.
Okay, see the positive. And which table we got? Okay,
Party. Yeah.
these match rules have configured and part. All these are interrelated. These metadata tables are interrelated. That's why, like I told you, right? We should not do anything directly on database. So if you do directly on database, see how many metadata tables have been related. So if we broke the link for any of the metadata table, how many errors we get? Just think. So that's why. So if we like, we can perform directly on database, but we should be aware of all these metadata changes. Then only we have to perform.
Correct.
Okay? Uh, now we will run the automate job. Whichever the records satisfies the automate, like whichever the records have automate indicator one, those records will only participate in auto merge process. Let's see. Let's run the auto merge job. Okay, one record auto merged.
Right.
Okay, because only one record is available in the match table for auto merge. Okay.
Yes, indicator one. Yeah.
Yes. Let's run see the match table output again. See, the entries have been deleted. That auto merge entry has been deleted.
Okay.
Okay. And if you get doubt that there are other three records are there, what happened to the rest of two records? I will tell you. Okay, when we go for manual match process. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So here only one entry is available under the manual match process. Rest of the records are not available because those two records are automated. That's why those records are not available. One record, that is 3. Where is this one? This one has not like this one satisfies the manual merge property. You know why? I mentioned email and contact for auto merge, email only for manual merge. These two records are satisfying the manual match property. See, email is matching as well contact is matching. But for this record, only email is matching with these two records. That's why this record is in queue for manual match. Okay. Let's see
Okay.
the base object table output. Two records are available. One is for manual match, another is for auto match. This record has been auto matched. Okay. And here consolidation indicator is 2. The records which are present in match table means queue for match, those records will have consolidation indicator 2 only. But here even for manual match records also we have 2. That's purely because of the property which we haven't enabled at the base object table level. Property accept all unmatched rows as unique. When we enable this one, then the records which are got consolidated, those records will become 1, and rest of the records which are not consolidated, those records will have consolidation indicator 2.
Okay.
Okay. Um, we always enable this. Okay, here whenever we change the properties at the match table level, so here in the base object part TM we are changing some properties, right? So it is asking click S to delete all matches currently stored in your match table. If I click L, yes, whichever the entries available in this match table, those will get flushed out. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So while we are performing this in production, we should be very cautious. Okay.
Okay.
If it is not required, then we'll flush out. If I click S, the entries will be removed from this match table. Okay. See, there are no entries, and and the entries which already present here, those consolidation indicator will be reverted back to 4. Let's see at the base object table level. Okay.
Okay.
If we run the match process again, match process again, It will go for manual match records 1, queue for manual merge 1. Okay, and run the merge process. We'll see one more entry here in the match table. Okay, same entry. We'll pin this and run the auto merge. Okay, accepted as unique record 1. That's because none of the records are two out of the two records. Only one record is eligible for manual match, right? Here in the base object. Sorry. Okay, I'll run this. So this is eligible for manual merge, right? So this record consolidation indicator does not changed, but whereas this record is auto merged, right? So this record consolidation indicator became 1. So
Right.
it does not have any other records. That's why this consolidation indicator became 1. But whereas there is an entry in the match table for this record, that's why this consolidation indicator is still 2.
Okay.
So then if data steward takes the call, means like when he merges these records or unmerge the records, suppose he merges the records, that record will be merged into this record, which means this record. Then both will become, now the two records will become 1 and the consolidation indicator will become 1
Mm.
until
Okay.
unless the data steward takes a call. If
Okay.
he thinks that those two records are not matched, then he'll simply reject that record. Then the consolidation indicator will become 1, but as an independent record.
Okay.
Okay. This is the entire match process for exact match. Okay. Tomorrow's class will go for fuzzy match strategy. We'll reinsert few more records and checks the fuzzy match strategy.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Bye.